Soon after, I tried to convince a local reporter to investigate what I presumed was a volatile situation in Lakeview. He expressed interest in the story, but dropped it soon after. I suspected that the paper didn't want to stir up a hornet's nest. I requested that the security guard agency find me a new location, resulting in a 2-week stint in a bone-chilling supermarket in Long Beach, where one day I confronted a woman for stealing a pack of chewing gum. For some reason, maybe a growing consciousness of social inequalities, witnessing the petty theft and intervening in it felt almost as bad as witnessing the knifing. In 1967, when I moved up to Toronto to attend graduate school, I came to an understanding of who I had been all those years, a white liberal whose actions failed to match his words. Reading Eldridge Cleaver's famous quote from Soul on Ice produced no small amount of discomfort. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Perhaps the phrase, like so much in those turbulent times, was too categorical. Doris Kearns Goodwin, the famous historian and biographer, wrote an autobiographical book in the 1990s, Wait Till Next Year, about growing up in Brooklyn and Rockville Centre. Goodwin, then Doris Kearns, had gone to the same high school as my siblings and me. She made the village sound like happy days, and compared to many other places in the world, it was idyllic. However, I wrote to remind her of both the Rockville Centre Country Club and an incident involving Floyd Patterson, the heavyweight champion of the world. Patterson had bought a house in Rockville Centre in the early 1950s, only to find a cross burning on his lawn the next day. She acknowledged the memory and regretted the omission, while emphasizing that the story would have been at odds with the intention of the book. A selective forgetting, even while we were young and living there, a blindness to our privilege and the reasons we prospered, was as much a part of my youth as sexual frustration. I believed that the real problem was in the South. Murdered civil rights workers, Selma, Birmingham, dogs, whips, fire hoses. While the bodies of African Americans in the North may not have been maimed, their souls were damaged by the indignity of their situation. As a teenager, both in high school and college, I read every book I could find by great black writers such as James Baldwin, Ralph Ellison, and Richard Wright. My interest in their plight coincided with my voracious appetite for Holocaust books. Even then, I was obsessed by victimhood and passionately opposed injustice. I certainly knew about exceptionality. My parents were divorced in 1961, a shocking embarrassment for me in a state where divorce was outlawed. My mother disappeared one day and flew to Mexico with her soon-to-be new husband to have the divorce granted. She left behind a maid to care for me and my father. My brother and sister were away at college. My father was a personable and hard-working businessman and was helpless around the house. He purchased a toolbox when I was a baby, but I never saw him even hammer a nail. The washing machine bewildered him. My mother leaving devastated us both. At the age of 15, I was being mothered, in effect, by an African-American woman who had to leave her own children in Lakeview and reside in a spare room in our house. I was happy to know that she was able to spend Sundays going to church with her family. Her dislocation and the puniness of her salary produced anger that she could only half conceal. In Soul on Ice, Eldridge Cleaver compared Floyd Patterson to two other heavyweight champions, Sonny Liston and Muhammad Ali. Oddly enough, from the standpoint of black history, Cleaver's insight produced the most telling comparison of the decade. Patterson was a humble sort of man who helped his defeated challengers off the canvas. With respect to his fights with Liston and Ali, the mannerly Patterson became, ironically, the Great White Hope. In a time of upheaval, Cleaver saw these three men as representatives of competing images and roles in the black communities. Patterson was characterized, rightly or wrongly, as the soon-to-be extinct remnant of slavery. Liston was the thug and rapist, and Ali was the rising of a new black conscience.